In my last video I was showing you the deck list that I predict that will be very viable and very strong in the meta. So what we're gonna do now is do a tier list and rank those decks according to how good I think they will be. And then later, when we actually see these cards be played in tournaments, we will analyze the results and come back to this tier list, see how accurate my predictions actually were, and then change them if we have to what is actually fact. And starting off, I plan to rank every single EX Pokemon from the new expansion. But there are two EX Pokemon from the new expansion that I'm not gonna rank, and those are Weavile EX and Lickilicky EX, because those two belong into other decks, right? They are played in decks. And so let's start off by ranking the decks that they are played on. So Lickilicky is played in the Dialga EX deck, because this is the only viable card I see where the energy acceleration from Dialga EX actually makes sense onto. I talked about this in detail in my previous video, so let's just go ahead right here and rank Dialga EX and put it right into the F tier. Yeah, that is simple. There's no metal type Pokemon in the game that would, or any Pokemon for that matter, that would love this energy acceleration that Dialga gives you, and that's Dialga's big strength. The other attack doesn't even really matter. So there's just nothing in this game other than Lickilicky, which is very mediocre. It's very slow and coin flippy. So with that being Dialga's best target, Dialga is garbage and belongs into the F tier. Moving on to the Weavile EX deck, which is actually the Darkrai EX deck. Those two cards will be played together, pretty sure. And ranking this deck, I mean, this should come to no one's surprise actually. It's gonna be an absolute S tier deck. This is the best deck in the game. Pretty sure, like, there's only one other deck that we will talk about later that contests Darkrai EX for the best deck in the game. So I'm pretty certain of that. Darkrai definitely will be on top of the meta. He belongs into the S tier, for sure. Let's move to a deck that will still exist moving forward. It will survive this expansion, and that is Mewtwo. That should come to no one's surprise whatsoever. The developers love Mewtwo and they couldn't make it more obvious. Talked about this in one of my previous videos. I'm talking about this for a very long time. Mewtwo is ridiculously busted and it will stay this way. If you want to play a psychic type deck, Mewtwo is gonna be your first choice, and he will also be on the very top of the meta. Not quite S tier anymore, because now with me predicting that Darkrai will be one of the best decks, maybe the best deck or the second best deck, then Mewtwo has a weakness, Gallade has a weakness, and it will hit that deck hard. Darkrai is also very fast. Like, the pace in which this Darkrai deck is played is very fast. So Mewtwo will struggle against that. That's why it's only A and not S. Talking about the psychic type, let's keep it that way and talk about Misdreavus EX real quick. Like, the only chance that this card could be viable is if you slot that into the Mewtwo EX deck, if it happens so that it gets slotted into the Mewtwo EX deck. But I see the chance of that happening very small, because all the Mewtwo EX deck needs is like a wall, something that buys itself time, and Misdreavus will not be that. It's also stage 1, and you already have a stage 2 with Gallade in that deck. So Misdreavus, I'm sorry, but you are not really a bad card, but you are just so heavily outclassed that you are pretty doomed, and you will kind of be completely irrelevant because you're just outclassed. Why would if you are not played in the most played psychic deck, why would anyone ever play you to begin with, right? This is not gonna be very competitive, so it's gonna be in the F tier. It has to be. Moving on to another deck that will survive the meta, or will make a little bit of a comeback, because it fell out of favor, and that is Charizard. Charizard is back. that will be the best fire deck in the game, because it's the only fire type to actually hit the numbers. Nothing else hits the numbers as well as Charizard, and yeah, Moltres will still be a thing. So yeah, this deck is pretty much untouched. It has everything it needs to succeed, and it will be the premier fire deck, no question about it. So yeah, it will still not be like S or A tier, because yeah, Darkrai will be fast, that will hurt Charizard, and Pikachu will stay in the meta, spoiler alert, that is very fast. We have another really insane water deck, which we already do, but it gets even more insane, that will hurt Charizard as well. So yeah, B tier is like the perfect rank for Charizard. It is like the premier B tier, so to speak. Talking about Charizard like that, we also have to talk about Infernape real quick, and here, yeah, hear me out. So this thing hits for 140 for 2 energy and has 0 retreat cost. Now, this could actually turn out to, yeah, switch places with Charizard EX, because 100, like you would, as a stage 2, you would want to hit 170. But if you actually look at the meta, what I predict will the meta will be, and which is very, very, very likely to actually turn out to be the meta, then 140 might actually be enough. 140 is all you need, and yeah, sometimes in like Palkia EX's case or Dialga's EX's case, you will have to hit 150, which you easily could do with a Giovanni. So he might actually turn out to hit the numbers, because 140 will be enough. But yeah, that remains to be seen. So since he's a stage 2 that does not hit for 170, I think Charizard is better than he is. But so I will put him in F tier for that reason, because yeah, you would never play Infernape if Charizard is a thing. But hear me out again, it could turn out to be the case that, yeah, as I said, 140 will be enough to counter everything in the meta. And if that's true, then Infernape is actually the B tier, and Charizard would move into the F tier, right? So it is very possible that these two switch places. But yeah, for now, I will keep it that way, put Infernape in F and Charizard in B. With mentioning these numbers, it's the perfect time to talk about Gallade, because so for 2 energy, it hits for 70, but 20 more for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon, which means it hits for 130 if your opponent's active Pokemon has 3 energy attached to it. Which, yeah, it is very, very unlikely that your opponent's active Pokemon will ever have more energy attached to it than 3, right? Only Palkia and Gyarados do that, so yeah, very unlikely. That means that 130 does not hit the numbers, right? Not even the 140 that we just talked about with Infernape. So it needs the Lucario on the bench, because Lucario increases every fighting type's Pokemon's damage by 20. That would mean Gallade would hit the 140, right? It would hit 150. Or it would need a Giovanni to hit that 140. It doesn't do that alone, though. That is a big problem. And as I mentioned with Infernape, which is a big problem, is that it's a stage 2 that doesn't hit for 170. It will actually never hit for 170. So that sounds very, very bad. That sounds like an F tier easy. But there's one thing, and that is that Gallade will very likely still be the premier fighting type deck. I don't have much hope for the fighting type deck. Yeah, because Gallade to me is very, very, very lackluster. But again, same thing as with Infernape. If it turns out to be true that hitting for 140 is enough to one-shot pretty much everything, right? Yeah, for some things like Mewtwo EX, Palkia, Dialga, you would need that Giovanni to hit 150, right? It's not too much of a big deal. So yeah, it will be the #1 fighting type deck, but still be very weak. It doesn't hit the numbers, and it needs support. And not only does it need support from Lucario, from the Giovanni, it also is dependent on your opponent's active Pokemon actually having 3 energy attached. And yeah, all these things combined just to hit 140 is ass. So it's not quite F tier because it's the best deck in its typing, but it's still bad. That's why it's in D. And next up we have Pachirisu, which, yeah, this is the Pikachu EX deck. Keep that in mind, please. So yeah, how do I think this Pikachu EX deck will turn out? Now, it has the same problems that it has ever had before, right? Nothing changed. Just for this one thing is that Pikachu was the #1 deck in the game when it came to how much damage can you deal and how fast can you deal that damage. It was the #1 deck in the game when it comes to this, and that's what made it so incredibly strong. Because yeah, no one could keep up with its speed. Now we have another very, very fast deck with Darkrai. It might be even faster. I think it will be even faster, and it will dethrone the Pikachu from being the fastest deck in the game. And as you can see right here with Pachirisu, and there's also a Rotom that will very likely see play. Those cards are dependent on the Pokemon tools. Now yeah, we have Rocky Helmet that will be played, that will be played as a staple 2 times in every single deck out there. So this might or might not be a big deal. We will have to wait and see. But for now, fact is that first of all, you are dethroned from speed, as I just said, and yeah, you have Pokemon that are dependent on Pokemon tools, even though the Rocky Helmet that I just said. But yeah, still, it has problems, and it is dethroned from the best thing that made it so incredibly good. So yeah, I also think it's the perfect place for the B tier, actually. I've already said there's one deck in this game that will contest Darkrai for its spot to be the best deck in the game, and that is gonna be Gyarados EX, which Palkia EX will be part of. Now with Palkia EX and Manaphy together with Misty, they will support Palkia and Gyarados to an absurd degree. Like Manaphy, I talked about this in my previous video, check it out. Manaphy is completely busted. You could call it the best card in the game if you go second. So yeah, that's the reason why this is like completely absurd. Yeah, you see, even like, remember, Gyarados hits for 140, right? This is enough to one-shot most things in the game. We talked about this even in this video a lot right now. So that's incredible for just a stage 1. That thing is not even a stage 2. Keep that also in mind. And it has 180 HP. That is more than anything, right? And whoa, now you put this Palkia on top of it. This is a wall. This is a late game beast. And yeah, this Palkia and the Manaphy together will make Gyarados so much better than it already is. It's already the best deck in the game. It dominates the meta since it released. So now with Palkia, with Manaphy, with Rocky Helmet, it got so much that makes it even way better than it already was. So yeah, I mean, this is an absolute force to be reckoned with. Don't be surprised if this is the best deck in the game, actually. But yeah, Darkrai is there, and Darkrai is also very, very dangerous. So yeah, gotta wait and see who of those two turns out to be the #1. The last deck that we're gonna rank here in this video, and that is the deck that includes Yanmega EX, which is Celebi EX. Now there are very important things to say here. It depends on how good Yanmega turns out to be, and what that depends on is, will Darkrai actually be the best deck in the game, and how much will Darkrai see play? Because you see Darkrai and the Weavile EX, they both have a weakness for grass. And Yanmega hits for 120. That means he one-shots Weavile and Darkrai because they have weakness. And if this turns out to be the best deck in the game, then Yanmega here is absolutely fantastic. And it will replace the Executor that is played in the Celebi deck. And it will make that deck much better than it is right now. But yeah, again, it all depends on how good will Darkrai actually be, right? If Darkrai turns out to be just like the second best deck and everyone plays Palkia, you know, then Yanmega is useless pretty much. All it does then is counter the lightning type deck, because yeah, it one-shots everything, Pikachu and Pikachu. If that would be all that Yanmega does, if all that Yanmega would do is counter that lightning deck with Pikachu, then yeah, Executor would be a better choice and would stay in that deck. So Yanmega would then be irrelevant. But yeah, my prediction is, yeah, I mean, it's hard to predict actually. It depends. Is Darkrai the best deck or just the second best deck? That's literally what it comes down to. And whatever that answer would be would determine how good Yanmega and the Celebi deck is, right? Celebi rises in the ranks obviously if Darkrai is good. The better Darkrai is, the better Celebi becomes, right? That is obvious. And Yanmega will be part of that. So yeah, if Darkrai is the #1 deck in the game, then this jumps into A tier. Not S, because it's still coin flippy as hell. But A tier would be fair then. If Palkia is the best deck in the game, this is B tier. Maybe even C. But yeah, I would still put it in B. I think B would be then a fair place. So that's what it depends on. So I will put it right in between these two. And then we have to wait and see what actually turns out to be true. And there we go. There we have it. That is my tier list. This is how I predict the decks, how the meta will turn out and how good which deck will actually be. Yeah, some things we will have to wait and see, like especially with Charizard and Infernape. That's a wild card, you know. But I think this tier list is a very good blueprint to start from and then see how things will actually turn out to be in the end. Maybe Palkia, right, is not even gonna be played. But again, keep in mind, this is the Gyarados EX deck, and Gyarados EX, I guarantee you, I promise you, that Gyarados will be on top of the meta. It will be really good. At least A tier for sure. So yeah, that's all about there is to say about it. Use this is a pretty good blueprint, and then yeah, we will see how things turn out. I will update this of course and see how well I predicted things. Like everything that I predicted for now concerning the metagame was always very accurate. Like I have almost 100%, I'm almost 100% accurate with all the predictions that I ever did when it comes to how the metagame will turn out. So yeah, do with that whatever you will. That's all I wanted to talk about. I would appreciate if you would leave a follow on my channel. But until next time, take care of yourselves, have a great day, and bye bye.